Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Hey, good morning, Aaron. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, sir. I'm good.
I tell you what, partner, I'm really excited about today's recording. Now, as you know, it's November 15th, 2022. Are you sure this is going to air right around New Year's Day?
Yes, sir. This show's going to air this will be our last show of 2022. So this is going to air right around the weekend of New Year's.
Oh, perfect, because I'm going to love the subject matter we're covering, so let's get after it.
All right, here we go. Episode number 307, 3 New Year's resolutions to a worry-free retirement. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and 4-time author, Tony Walker.
We call them New Year's resolutions. Webster's defines a resolution as the act of determining to do something, or, as it relates to my field of endeavor, retirement planning, the act of analyzing a complex notion into simpler ones. And assuming America's favorite financial sidekick is able to successfully edit today's show so that it might air during the first week of the year of 2023, I'll assume that whether it's resolving to go on a diet, get more exercise, and yes, maybe even getting your financial house in order. While the good news is that while most of us set New Year's resolutions, in many cases, we fail to keep them. Which is why today I will share with you the 3 resolutions that you can easily make and more importantly keep to be worry-free in retirement. So let's get started. Well, welcome folks to the Worry-Free Retirement, and yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, New Year's resolution specialist and fiduciary Tony Walker. And before we get started, let me introduce to you who we were clamoring around in the studio before we opened up this show. As always, America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I don't think I even asked you. Are you a big New Year's resolution setting kind of guy?
Not anymore. I don't know.
So depressing.
Honestly, not anymore. I've made resolutions in the past, sure, but I don't know. There's also been times where I've decided on September 1st, okay, I'm going to start doing this or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, if I'm going to start doing something, I usually just kind of start doing it rather than, okay, I'm going to wait until the beginning of the year. I don't know.
My theory on that whole thing, I'd like to Google or find out where did it even started. It probably was some guy that was just a total procrastinator. He's like, okay, I'm done. January 1st, and then it just kind of took off. But it is funny how everybody gets caught up in them. And I meant to do some statistics on that. I wonder what you would guess, how many New Year's resolutions fail. Are you trying to look it up right now?
Yeah, I'll look it up. You keep talking, I'll look it up.
Look that up. That's kind of interesting. So anyway, folks, if that's you right now, if you're sitting there saying, yeah, Tony, I've got some New Year's resolutions, but as you say, partner, it seems like they fail more time than they succeed. We are going to be talking about 3, and I mean this, these are easy resolutions to make and to keep, assuming, here's the big key to this, assuming you've got the right financial advisor in your corner to help you with this thing called retirement planning. Oh boy, look at Aaron. He's all excited over there. What'd you find out, Aaron?
Okay, I got some numbers for you. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. It says here, of those who make a New Year's resolution after the first week, 75% are still successful in keeping it. So that means after just the first week in January, 25% of resolutions fail. All right. After 2 weeks, the number drops down to 71%. So after 2 weeks, we're already down to 30% of people's resolutions. They're done with them. I'm not doing this anymore. It's too hard, whatever. After a month, two more statistics here. After 1 month, the number drops down to 64%. So after just the month of January, we're almost halfway through resolutions, just people are done with them. All right. By the end of the year, all right, we'll jump all the way to the end of the year this time next year. It says that only 9 to 12% of people are still doing their New Year's resolutions. And it says roughly estimated 90% to 92% of all New Year's resolutions have failed by the end of the year.
Wow. Well, I'm going to tell you, folks, as we get into today's show, I'm going to tell you why so many people worry about money and especially retirement, and it's because they don't have these 3 resolutions, which we at Tony Walker are going to provide. By the way, speaking of New Year's resolutions, I've got a couple to share throughout the show. One of the goals when we start out this year, you'll remember this, Aaron, you know how in the show I've even had on my favorite fellow fiduciary in Bowling Green, Heather Hughes, has been on the show more. My favorite nephew, Wes Walker, has been on the show more. Of course, my favorite son-in-law, Trey, has been on the show more. But I said, you know what? We've got so many great staff members. Those are our 3 salaried fiduciaries, but we got all this staff. We got you and Derek and our production company that we have all these capabilities. I said, dadgummit, we need to have them on more frequently. And we decided to call these Tips to a Worry-Free Retirement. And folks, what we've done, this is really cool. Because our service experts have so much experience in retirement planning, we're going to have them kind of provide the most common questions they get from savers and how they address those. In fact, Aaron, I think you've got one queued up here as an example. Is this Heather Hughes?
Yeah, this is actually Heather's. We're going to play that right now. So whenever we're ready, let's let it roll.
Yeah, let her rip.
Hi, my name is Heather Hughes. I'm an advisor in the Bowling Green office at Tony Walker Financial. Just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the decision to retire. That's probably one of the major decisions you're ever going to have in your life. And to have the right advisor to help you through retirement is of utmost importance. Keep in mind that you really do need to work with a fiduciary who is legally obligated to work in your best interest. Additionally, you're going to want a game plan for your retirement so you can navigate through everything. And look at retirement as a partnership with your advisor, somebody that you'll be able to work with throughout retirement. And if you have a spouse that they feel comfortable working with too. Here at Tony Walker Financial, we can do all of those things. Thank you so much.
So, folks, if you want to listen and watch more of these tips to retire worry-free from our staff at Tony Walker Financial, all you got to do is head on over to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Right there in the homepage, Derek Hudson, who kind of takes care of our website, put it front and center. And they're real. You know what I like about these, Aaron? They're quick hitters.
Yeah, that's what I like.
Yeah, they're unlike me. They don't have high verbal needs at Tony Walker Financial. They don't have to talk endlessly like I do. But we try to keep them under 2 minutes. But I found that some of them, even the 45 to 50 seconds, are very effective.
I agree.
Yeah, so head over to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That way you'll get to learn more about our staff, but also there's some really good tips on retirement. Okay, back to our subject matter. Aaron just disclosed, I don't know what you were Googling there, but I'm going to assume it was true because anything on the internet is true.
Yeah, everything on the internet is true. It said all those statistics came from BigfootIsReal.com.
So anyway, let's assume, though, that you're serious about retirement planning. You're retired or nearing retirement. And let's assume for a minute you actually want to be successful in retiring. In other words, you want to be worry-free. But let's also assume you don't want your goals and plans for the future to fail and be that, 92% after 1 year, Aaron, that just gives up? Okay. So how do we pull this off? How do we at Tony Walker Financial help so many savers worry less about money? When I return, we're going to share with you the 3 resolutions you'll want to make for 2023 and how we at Tony Walker Financial are well equipped to help you do just that. Great stuff coming your way. I'm Tony Walker. We'll be right back. Getting ready to roll over your 401k to an advisor you barely know? Are they just going to invest your money, or do they actually have experience in retirement planning? Well, here's my advice. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Get a written game plan from an experienced retirement planning firm that has created more than 5,000 written game plans. To get started, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and click on that Let's Get Started button. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. Fiduciary Tony Walker here, along with America's favorite financial sidekick, and our Live Well, Die Broke moment, since this show is focusing on goals and resolutions, actually deals. Is it okay to talk about myself, Aaron? I guess since
Sure.
I pay for the show.
Yeah, you pay for the show. You can talk about whatever you want. Throw out your deviled egg recipe.
Ooh,
whatever you want.
I did make those.
This is your show, man. Whatever you want to talk about.
Man, we're recording this before Thanksgiving, and I've already had family members. This is when you know you've made it in life, when they make sure, Tony, you make your deviled eggs for Thanksgiving. So I feel like my moment has arrived. Anyway, one of the things by chance I started doing, Aaron, over the last year or so, I've got the two little grandgirls, Ivy and Scout, and I constantly, over the year, since they've been old enough really to kind of sit down and do story time, how you read kids' books. Yep. Well, out of the blue, I started making up stories about me when I was little. Some of them were made up. Actually, some of them actually happened. And I referred to myself as Tony Baloney, and I really did have a dog named Cookie, and I just made up stories. Okay. And I thought, well, they're going to think I'm crazy. Well, these kids loved it. So I kept getting feedback. I'd watch what they laughed at, watch what they liked. I'd watch their expressions. And I told my wife, she said, Tony, I know you're crazy now, but I said, I'm going to write a children's book, and I'm going to call it The Adventures of Tony Baloney and Cookie. And lo and behold, Aaron, I had some really good people helping me. I mean, I had a great illustrator, somebody that knows how to get books online very quickly, someone that could kind of set it all up properly inside the book because she had done some children's books. So, folks, it's available. It's called The Adventures of Tony Baloney and Cookie. It's available at major bookstores. You can order it online. And actually, it's funny, Aaron, this is my 6th published book. This one has nothing to do with money. And actually, this is gaining more traction than the other 5 put together. Why do you think that might be?
Well, I don't know. Probably multiple reasons. It's the holidays right now. People might be looking for presents. But
well, think of the subject matter.
Yeah, it's
It doesn't have anything about money. It's kids.
Right, it's kids.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I've found is the people that are buying the book are like me. They love to read to kids and grandkids. And I tell you what you can do to help me, folks, because I really am trying to get the word out. This is really a great book, and I guarantee you'll have a lot of fun. Again, has nothing to do with money or Tony Walker Financial. But if you don't mind, first of all, I'd like you to buy the book. All you do is go to Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, Joseph Beth up there in Lexington, whatever, but it's called The Adventures of Tony Baloney. You spell Baloney B-A-L-O-N-Y, Tony Baloney, and Cookie. And then, if you want to write a review, assuming you like the book, please do that. But also, here's what I'd like you to do. If you have a Facebook page, you know where this thing's getting traction, Aaron?
Facebook?
Yeah. And if you like the book, share it with your friends and encourage them to buy it. I can assure you, if you've got nieces, nephews, children, grandchildren, I was going to say under the age of 6, but it was funny, Aaron. Jennifer Jaggers, I affectionately call JJ in her office, she ordered a copy and it came home, and her daughter Riley, I think Riley's 12 or 13, JJ sent me a picture and said, Tony, she loves this book. And then her husband,
it's great.
Her husband, he liked it too. He liked the story about Tony Baloney learns to potty. Anyway, so there's a little potty humor in there, but it's all good. All right, let's get back to the show and our 3 most important resolutions you can set, assuming you're a saver. Remember, folks, this show's for savers, to be worry-free in retirement. And the first one is, if you're going to turn over your life savings to somebody, why in the world would you not choose a fiduciary? Now, folks, if you want to watch past episodes of the Worry-Free Retirement TV show, we have a YouTube channel at Tony Walker Financial. We have our radio show on SoundCloud.com. But this is important stuff. We've already covered a fiduciary, which is somebody required by law to work in your best interest. But here's the kicker on the fiduciary. Also a fiduciary who does not have a conflict of interest, or at least if they do have one, they share it with you. So, Aaron, I'm going to catch you off guard. When you think of conflict of interest, especially if somebody's trying to sell you something or offer you something, do you have an example that comes to mind?
Oh, an example. Oh.
Or something that's ever, maybe somebody's recommended something and you're like, well, yeah, sure, you're recommending that. You make money on it or whatever.
Right. An example? I don't know. I'd have to think about that for a minute. Maybe just thinking about like buying a car sometimes, depending on what you want versus what you need.
There you go. Now, let me interrupt you. So, if you go to a car dealership, the car salesman gets a commission, that's fine. But if, let's say, you tell them you only have a budget of $20,000, they keep showing you a $40,000 car, you might at some
that's
point
not going to work. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're showing me a $40,000 because you probably make more money, right?
Right. Or like what I'm in right now. So we've got a family of 5. So I need a family of 5 car.
Yeah.
I don't need a Mazda Miata right now. That's not going to work. That's not going to fit.
But so that would be a conflict of interest. You're not really working in the client's best interest. Well, I got to thinking about this. So a week or two ago, we covered a show about a company that they absolutely hate annuities. It's a Wall Street company, and they advertise a lot, and they do great marketing. I'll have to admit, they have great marketing. And one of the things they never do, although they do bash annuities all the time, they never tell you what their fees are. Okay? So remember, as a fiduciary, they're supposed to tell you that. Like our fees for our Charles Schwab platform are 0.8%. Well, they don't ever tell you that. You got to dig through the literature. I've even ordered stuff from them. I thought, well, hey, I may even be interested in working with these guys if they're that good. It's hard to find out what they charge. Well, I finally found out what they charge, and they charge 1.5% per year. Nothing wrong with that. That's their fee. It's buried in their stuff, but you can find it. Okay, so that's disclosed. Well, so you say, well, Tony, are they fiduciaries? Yeah, they're fiduciaries, but here's where the rub comes in with me, Aaron. In their ads, they're always saying, people, basically, they insinuate, if you charge a commission, you're not a fiduciary. In other words, they say, we're fiduciaries, we don't charge commissions. Well, we're fiduciaries at Tony Walker Financial. We get paid both on fees to manage money, but we also sell annuity products and life insurance products for a commission. So are we saying we're not fiduciaries, that we're not going to work in your best interest? Well, that's absurd. But here was the funny part. So I got to thinking about this. I'm grabbing some paper here. I'll get my cheat notes. And I want to take my time on this because this was hilarious. I even ran this by our fellow fiduciaries, Heather, Wes, and Trey, and they were shocked. Okay, so let's stay with this premise because this is really important. So the first resolution, working with a fiduciary, but making sure the fiduciary doesn't have a conflict of interest. So here goes. Ran this example. Let's imagine, Aaron, you had $100,000 to invest. You with me?
Okay.
Okay, and you're going to go with, let's just say, these fine folks that charge 1.5%. They don't like annuities. They don't sell annuities. They don't recommend you buy annuities. They just want you to have their money management program. Fair enough?
Okay.
I'm okay with that. All right. And let's just imagine they make 5% on your money for 5 years. We're just picking a number out of the air. You with me so far?
Okay.
Okay. Then they come over, the same person, you come over to me and you say, well, Tony, do you have any other options beside the stock market? I'm a little nervous about the market. I'm afraid I might lose the money. I don't know if I want a lot of fees, but I don't understand how fees work. So I say, well, sure, Aaron, if you want something that's guaranteed, we could put that same $100,000, and this is as of November 15th, folks, 2022. These rates change all the time. But currently, Aaron, Mr. Orander, we can get you a product. It's called a fixed interest annuity. Now listen to this. It's guaranteed to pay you 5% for 5 years. Guaranteed. How's it sounding so far?
For 5 years, 5% guaranteed.
The other guys
right.
are hoping to make 5%. They could make a lot more or they could lose you money. You see the difference?
Yeah.
But they're going to charge you a fee. And what if I told you that we make a commission on the sale of that product? You might want to say, let's say, how much is it,
Well, how
right?
much is it? Yeah.
Okay. It's
How much do you make?
Yeah, $2,000. Okay, but guess who pays that commission? Do you think you pay it or the insurance company?
I would question, if we're just having this conversation, probably me, the first thing I would think is, well, do I pay that?
Okay. And actually, assuming you kept the contract, the full 5 years, no, you do not pay that. The insurance company pays me the $2,000 or Tony Walker Financial.
All right.
So far, you don't have any out of pocket.
Okay.
Okay. And let's say for the 5 years, it accumulates, it grows. All right. At the end of 5 years, because remember, you don't have any fees with this fixed interest annuity, and the insurance company paid me my commission, so you're not out of pocket. Your account would have grown the $100,000 to $127,000. Not bad.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
That's not bad.
Okay. Now, in the meantime, can you calculate in your head, let's say you had it with the other guys, they're charging 1.5% in their portfolio. The market average is 5%. Averages, okay. Do you have any idea how much you would have at the end of 5 years?
No.
How would you even calculate that, right?
I would have to ask them.
There you go. Well, let me tell you what they made, charging 1.5% in that example. Okay? I'll give you a little multiple choice. Would you think they would have made what I made, about $2,000? Would you think they'd made around $3,000, $5,000 or around $8,000, what would you say they probably would have made?
Oh.
Roughly.
5. I'll just say 5. Why not?
Okay, that's a pretty good guess. What if I told you on that same example, them charging 1.5% per year, remember the account's growing at 5%, at the end of the year, 5 years, they would have made $8,000.
Wow.
And your account, because they had to take the fees out of your account, remember with our guaranteed account of 5% at 127, with us getting a one-time commission, remember we're fiduciaries, we get a commission, your account would be worth $118,000 with the other guys charging those fees. Pretty alarming.
So 118 and they made 8. They made almost half of what I made, basically, right?
Yeah, let's see, you would have made, yeah, that's right.
If 18,000,
yeah, you're about, that's
and they
about
made
right.
8,000, they made almost 50, they made almost half of what I made.
Plus, assuming you left it there, they're going to keep charging the 1.5%. So folks, here's the point. Are fees bad? No. Are commissions bad? No. What you need, folks, is a fiduciary that hopefully can offer you both. See, this is where the conflict of interest comes in. So if a firm only offers one type of car, whether it's a van or Maserati, and they're only trying to sell you that and they're bashing everything else, well, to me, they got a huge conflict of interest, especially if they're not even showing you the effects of the fees on the money. So here's what I would say, folks. If you don't have a fiduciary in your corner, somebody that doesn't have a conflict of interest, somebody that has the ability to understand both products from Wall Street, which we can offer for a fee of 0.8%, and products from the insurance world, annuities, life insurance, etc. at Tony Walker Financial, my question is, why not? So to learn more about our services or even to talk with me in person, we have something called a free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. You can take advantage of that by calling us at 270-843-9380. That's 270-843-9380, or go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and just click on that Let's Get Started button. Okay, in our time remaining, we're going to take a quick break. When I come back, the other 2 resolutions you're going to want to take advantage of to retire worry-free. I'm Tony Walker. We'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today. With the uncertainty of the stock market, now may be the best time to consider moving your 401k to safer territory. To talk to me at no cost or obligation, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. In case you're just now joining us, we are covering the 3 main resolutions you're going to want to set to be successful in retirement and, yes, to be worry-free. So our first one was make sure you work with a fiduciary, and just as importantly, make sure that fiduciary does not have a conflict of interest going on. Secondly, and I think this is just as important, if you're going to turn over your life savings to that fiduciary, hopefully it's a fiduciary, hopefully they don't have a conflict of interest, but since we're talking about retirement planning, folks, this is not investing now. Now we're trying to take the investments you've made and set up a game plan in order to use those investments and make sure they last as long as you do. You're going to want from that advisor a written game plan. Now, folks, we have created our own written game plan software. I started working on this 20 years ago when I saw that nobody had a written game plan. This is proprietary software we use. And believe me, what this allows you and I to do, assuming you're one of our clients, is to get on the same page. Now, why would we want a written game plan? The reason you want a written game plan is something my dad always used to say. Let her roll there, Aaron. Nothing stays the same. So here's the point, folks. When you get into retirement, one thing is certain, things will change. And I can attest to this because as someone who's met in person with over 15,000 people, I've been doing this 38 years. We have over 3,000 clients. I have 15 full-time staff at Tony Walker Financial who field questions every day and changes every day. And we have all of these people aging, going through the retirement planning process. If you do not have a written game plan in place that you and your advisor can refer to immediately when change comes, you're going to worry. I mean, Aaron, can you imagine if over the years you've met with a doctor, and let's say the doctor took blood tests, x-rays and all that, and you go in and you've got a major problem, something's happening, and you say, hey, doc, can you get out my records and take a look at that? And he says, Aaron, we didn't keep any of that stuff, man. We don't have any of that stuff. What would you do?
Right.
You wouldn't have a record of anything. So, folks, it's the same way when you're doing retirement planning. You have to have that written game plan. So if you would like to see what a written game plan looks like, we'll be happy to show you that. And best of all, to talk to us, assuming you qualify for our services, there's never a cost or fee to meet in person and to get one of these free written game plans. All right, kind of winding down things. We're running out of time. I hope this has been helpful. Number 3, and this is my personal favorite, Aaron. You know how close I was to my granddad.
Yes.
I've told the story. I won't bore everybody with it, but I love telling the story just real quickly. He worked for Bell South all of his life, retires in 1978 with his beloved pension, which a pension, folks, not many of those left anymore. A pension is a guaranteed income. You can never outlive, guaranteed. He also had his beloved Social Security, guaranteed income he could never outlive, which he lived on both of those. And every month, I can remember occasionally I was with him when he did it. He'd go out to that mailbox, open it up, and he'd go, oh, there it is. And he called it
mailbox money.
So you don't maybe have a pension. You may be worried about Social Security. So you say, well, Tony, I got this 401k that's all over the place. I'm getting nervous about the market. Even if I invest in a CD or something, who knows what the interest rates will be one day. How can I get me some of that mailbox money you keep talking about? Well, folks, that's easy. Because of our expertise in the world of what we call private annuities, these are contracts issued by insurance companies. Those annuities, the annuities that Wall Street loves to bash, are the only products. Listen, folks, this is for you savers out there if you're looking for guarantees. It is the only product that can guarantee an income for the rest of your life. Aaron, it was funny the other day, Heather Hughes and I were talking about this, and literally someone had been a client for years. They had one of these annuities. It was growing in value. It's guaranteed to grow at a certain rate. And we had encouraged them to go on and start their mailbox money. I mean, they were in their 70s, and they said, okay. They kind of forgot what it was. And apparently Heather was meeting with them, and I can't remember the number. It was like $1,500 a month or whatever it was. She said, okay, Mrs. Jones, when you start this mailbox money for you and your husband, it was good for her husband too. This was her IRA. It's going to pay you $1,500 a month for the rest of your life. And if you pass away before your husband does, he'll continue to get the $1,500 a month for the rest of his life. And here's what she said. The nice young lady said, well, what if I live a long time? And Heather laughed and she said, no, that's what I said, for the rest of your life.
The rest of your life.
Well, then she said, no, honey, I mean, well, like, what if I live to 90? And Heather just kept laughing. She said, Mrs. Jones, it doesn't matter. You can live to 110. So folks, think about that. Think about probably your greatest fear right now is either being dependent on adult children one day because you run out of money, or just simply running out of money one day and wondering where the next dollar is going to come from. My question is this: why in the world, when you could have the opportunity to purchase an annuity that provides mailbox money from a firm like Tony Walker Financial that's sold about as many annuities in the country as anybody, why in the world wouldn't you want to work with local experts right in your backyard, can provide you a game plan, fiduciaries, we don't have a conflict of interest, we'll disclose all of our commissions and fees when it's that easy to get started with us. So here's what I'd like you to do right now. Take that resolution and say, okay, Tony, I want to talk to you. Set up that free 10-minute fiduciary phone call with me by calling us right now at 270-843-9380. That's 270-843-9380. And if it warrants, I'll be happy to meet with you in person to provide you a free written game plan at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. Or if you like, go to our website at TonyWalkerFinancial.com and just click on that Let's Get Started button. Well, we sincerely hope you had a good 2022 and an even more blessed 2023. But you remember, between now and next week, if all else fails, you be worry-free. Make it a good one.